Hello, one and all. First, I'd like to recognize that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Sooke Nation. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Sooke Regional Chamber of Commerce and EMCS Society Election Information event. My name is Mike Menard, President of the Chamber of Commerce and the host for the event. The questions that we'll be putting to the mayoral candidates were developed by the Sooke Multi-Belief Initiative. Toastmasters has kindly agreed to facilitate and timekeep the event. We will have a short 5-minute bathroom break after the candidates speak and before the other candidates. Today's event is informational. It is being recorded with time and skill provided by Frank Anderson and Dal Little. The video will be on YouTube shortly. For those of you in front of the camera, please remain seated. Tomorrow at Transition Sooke, meet and greet the community hall starting at 2 p.m. You'll have the opportunity to meet the candidates and ask them questions. Before we start, we're going to ask all cell phones be turned off, no food and drink in the hall other than water. Fire exits are here, there, and out the door. That was your WestJet impression. And washrooms at the end of the hall to the right. So without any further delay, let's introduce the facilitators for the event. Zia Ali with Peter Scott and timekeeper Kim Glidden.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with us on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. In a few moments, we're going to hear our candidates' opening statements. But before we get into that, I just want to set some ground rules in terms of timing. Timing is crucial. It's going to help us stay on track. It's going to help us be on time, and it's going to help our candidates have equal speaking opportunity. Now, each candidate gets 3 minutes to speak. Our timekeeper, Kim, is going to show them the green light once they start speaking. When the light turns yellow, it means you have 30 seconds to start wrapping it up. When the light turns red, it means that you're out of time and to please stop speaking. Like I said, each candidate gets 3 minutes, and we are going to start with Mick Rhodes' opening statement. Mick.
Very pleasant afternoon to everyone. It's good to see you all here present, waiting to get your fair share of the views. Speaking of views, here's my point of view. One last rallying cry, Sooke. Let us all rally around creating a waterfront central park and a citizens plaza to celebrate our 25th anniversary of the incorporation of Sooke. That's in 2024. If elected mayor, my intention is to sit down with our newly elected council and District of Sooke staff and draw up a feasibility study report. Next, I would meet with Jeff Lukecock, president of Seacliff Properties, and what happens next? Council, with the guidance of our planning staff, are going to talk about and debate the merits and carefully consider swapping Lot A on Wadham's Way and place it before Seacliff Properties incentives for agreeing to the land swap. We'll negotiate and iron out a deal where Jeff Lukecock, Seacliff Properties, can build their retail plaza, perhaps affordable housing units, topped off with market-rate condos on Wadham's Way. I believe the retail stores and the 6-story complexes Seacliff Properties envisions could be entirely built on Wadham's Way. Wadham's Way could become a central hub for retail shops and just maybe the new urgent medical emergency health center. And the build-out will be away from Sooke Road. The upper stories facing south will still provide viewscapes of Sooke Harbour and Basin, East Sooke and the Olympic Mountains, and facing north, views of John Phillips Park and the surrounding Sooke Hills. I think a lot of new retirees would like the idea of the proximity to shopping and accessibility to the parks that are within walking distance. The District of Sooke will ask Jeff Lukecock if he's interested in building our new emergency medical health center in the same complex. And the District of Sooke and Vancouver Island Health Authority could negotiate a leasing agreement, a public-private partnership. Jeff Lucock might even want to put in a bid for the new Seniors Youth Activity Center, the gathering place that could be sited in our new central waterfront park. There are more options that the District of Sooke can consider. There's a 90% federal provincial funding program for new cultural, recreational, and community infrastructure that we can tap into. We have our advocate, John Horgan, our local MLA, who is also the Premier of BC, and will be stepping down from that role in the not-too-distant future. Let's approach him. And there's also Randall Garrison, his federal counterpart. The District of Sooke could lobby the CRD Parks Acquisition Fund to fund the parks proposal as a partnership, and I'd approach the Sooke band. They might also want to form a partnership in acquiring the parklands. There is a world of possibilities, Sooke, that the District of Sooke can tap into and create our waterfront Central Park with a Citizens Plaza. It could be the cornerstone of our 25th year community celebration. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's wonderful to see you all here today on a beautiful sunny day in Sooke. I'd like to acknowledge that this meeting is taking place on the beautiful lands of the Sooke Nation, and I wish to acknowledge their stewardship of these lands since time immemorial. Thank you all for being here. My name is Maya Tate. For those of you I have yet to meet, I have served as mayor now since 2014, and I first got elected back in 2008. Being here today reminds me of that event in 2008 when the room was full and you can't see the back because of these big lights. So if I'm kind of waving and I don't know who you are, it's because we actually can't see you. It's wonderful to see such interest in local government. We have 23 talented people all stepping forward to work together to create a wonderful Sooke for not only today, but for the future generations. For the past years, people ask, well, what are your priorities, Maya? What are you going to accomplish? And I take the view that it isn't about me, it's about what we create together. In the end, I hope to be standing alongside 6 other individuals who have amazing and incredible ideas for the future of our town and are networked into connecting with all of you. And so my goal here is to bring out the best in whatever everyone brings together and to create priorities that we share. And then with the technical expertise of our staff, the amazing contributions that we receive from our community stakeholders, community volunteers, stakeholders, residents, and just day-to-day interactions, we find ways to fund these and to put them together. The last term has been incredibly difficult. The last time I was in this theater is when we parted ways with 3 young men who were lost in a tragedy. And the town stood together in that moment. We've lost a dear councillor over this term, and we've been separated due to a pandemic. And I know that there is grief that needs to be felt. There's sadness, frustration, and anger. And those are all valid and important feelings from everyone. But through all of this, council came together. How do we continue on with the business of the day? How do we recognize those that we are parting way with? How do we bring everyone together? So I hope to continue this work on behalf of all of you. It is a privilege for me to stand here today, and I hope to continue doing that into the future. Thank you all for taking the time, and those viewing at home, great to see you too. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. We are moving into our question period right now. We have prepared 4 questions for our candidates, and each question is, each candidate has 2 minutes to answer their questions. We're going to start with Mick. First question is, Sooke has been growing rapidly for the past decade. What would you do to ensure that the pace of development does not threaten the quality of life in our community and that local infrastructure is adequately planned and available to meet this growth? Mick.
I don't use the same playbook as the mayor. I follow a different modality, just the facts. The reason that I'm running is because I believe decisions made in the past have changed the nature and the character of Sooke to its overall detriment. The civic record of our mayor needs to be held accountable on a lot of issues dear to the voters, well, for those who even bothered to vote in the civic election. Let's look at the rush to develop Sooke. Subdivisions have seemingly been popping up everywhere. It's great for the development community and I suppose for small businesses, but not so great for the people living here, especially with the growth in traffic congestion. Here's a news article in our local newspaper. Page 2, January 6th, the beginning of the new year. To be precise, the caption banner, Mayor looks ahead for Sooke in 2022. It reads, one of the things that Tate said would be important moving forward is to continue allowing development. Saying put a stop to it would hurt the community in the short and long term. When I hear no development, then that means businesses will never be able to operate here, she said in a previous interview with the Sooke News Mirror. Here's another example. This past March 31st, front page of the Mirror, banner headline, gridlock. Sooke's traffic problems far beyond what has been anticipated. Traffic was in gridlock. The news article goes on to say the district of Sooke was surprised, far beyond what anybody could have anticipated, with the daily amount of traffic jams and the long lineups. This is what the mayor had to say, quote unquote. We're in the traffic too. It's frustrating and impacting the quality of life for our residents. We are not complacent on this as a new reality. Oh, really? What? You didn't see it coming? Everybody knows or ought to know. There's really only one road that leads to Sooke. I believe that there has been some, to put it politely, some poor decision-making in the last decade, and we're paying for it right now. And I would guess it's going to get worse before it gets better. And I've got one more example. Check out the July 18th news article in the Mirror, banner headline, Project promises to breathe new life into stalled Sooke development. That's right across from the Sooke Elementary School and the church.
Time's up.
Sooke. All right. Thank you. 3 minutes. Was it 3 minutes long, Dad? I think we're allowed 3 minutes. I was understood that Britt sent me an email and said if there was only 2 mayoralty candidates, we would have 3 minutes for each question. So I don't know who is responsible for this mix-up, but that was what it was in the email. We have 3 minutes, but that's all right. We'll play by the rules.
Your quality of life has been disrupted. There's no doubt about it. Sitting in traffic when you just want to be home with your family, listening to the rumbling and the shaking as trucks and all that go by your home, waiting and waiting for a park and what's going on here, these are real concerns. But council hears them, and we know that we need to improve the infrastructure. The challenge we have is our ability to improve it, drive it, use it all at the same time. How do you fix a road and drive on it at the same time? It's not an easy thing to do. We've been planning for years, and it's not just this council, but ones prior to. Let's build up reserves and save for the future. Let's position ourselves for grants when they come available. Let's advocate to the province and federal government and say, these are your responsibilities, and we need to work together because the people you represent are living in our community, and they're tired of waiting for tomorrow and a better day. So we're dealing with this now, creating those relationships, that collaboration, getting ready for those grants. Yes, it was a huge inconvenience when Church and Otter Point were upgraded at the same time. What was council thinking creating that? But that was money that we received at 100% financed, and we knew that these corridors needed to be done so that our children and our elders can move around our community safely. We've consistently been putting funding into our reserves so that we have our share. And all of these together, we focus on what is local that we can do through master planning documents. How do we get developer contributions? We work regionally with the CRD. We have a renewable gas project launching at Heartland. transportation and transit through the Victoria Regional Commission as well as the CRD, and provincially, we reach out and advocate. When they were downloading an expense to us unexpected for $250,000, the mayor's pushed back, and we don't have to pay that bill now. More to come. I'll save it for the close. Thank you, sir.
Second question. How would you make Sooke a more welcoming community for people with disabilities and individuals who are homeless? Maya Tate?
I would like to thank the wonderful work of our volunteer and service organizations. The best we can do as a council is to support those that are delivering the work where it's needed. Whether that's Sooke Shelter and the Sooke Homeless Coalition that is working with those that are struggling, or perhaps it's with healthcare, it's building around the Sooke Community Health Network, who they liaise with those first line essential workers that are telling them what they're needed. The best we can do is empower these groups to deliver the service that's needed. We also hear from families and elders that wish to travel about our community and would like to do so together on bike or with a stroller. I know what that's like, pushing a stroller through Sooke as well as a wheelchair. And you have a sense from that firsthand user perspective where the pinch points are. We've learned that using gravel at trailheads when it spills out onto the sidewalk is a challenge for some folks with mobility issues, so we stopped doing that and we've changed how we do the trail work. We know that safe and open and good lighting will create more users interested in using the trail system and lessen the dependence on the vehicle. But when it comes to really reaching out that are those who struggle, the best I can do is say all of you are important. You all belong in our community and you're struggling. So how do we help those at the food bank that are delivering the necessary meals, or others that are looking to grow nourishing and healthy foods and distribute that? And we know we have many volunteers in our community, and our Welcome to Sooke sign proudly acknowledges that we are the volunteer capital of Canada. And so how do we help foster new volunteers? We saw many young people earlier today fundraising through bottles. There's a few here, and I'm in the schools regularly meeting with children to find out what's important and to set them up for success so they can be the new generation that will come together and build a safe future for all of us. Thank you.
Mick Rhodes?
2 minutes. Okay. The District of Sooke needs to formulate land use policies that reflect our community character and our official community charter. I propose that Sooke should take a step back and really ponder our collective future. Just where in the hell are we headed? To not step back could lead to the oblivion of the very character of Sooke that those who have lived here a long time cherish and remember. Sooke up to this day has had only one high school. Think of all the families in the past generations that have attended Edward Milne High School. EMCS is the melting pot of Sooke and has many intergenerational family ties to attest to. Let's keep those family memories alive. Those who have arrived here in the last 20 years after Sooke was incorporated were attracted to our little town by its rustic splendor and its rural atmosphere, and there was also its affordability and proximity to a major urban center in Greater Victoria. Let's use our municipal muscle and build homes for those who already live here. Let's build a mix of truly affordable homes. Tiny house communities or modular homes for those who actually be able to own them. And speaking of home ownership, not rental housing, let's allow them all to build equity and allow them to plan for their future. Also, let's target young adults starting out, pensioners who can't make ends meet with the rising cost of living, people with disabilities. We can make room to provide temporary accommodation for the homeless. Give them a leg up. I've heard the phrase, you might not be able to change the beginning of your life, but there's still time and opportunity to change the end. We should also address low-wage service workers who live and work here. Plan for the next 7 generations. With a balanced, careful approach, put a yearly cap on housing allowable new housing starts, slow down the migration to Sooke until we fix that road. In other words, let's get a handle on our collective future. We need to formulate extraordinary policies, and it's all up to you, Sooke, who you choose for the next 4 years.
Question number 3. What would you do to create sufficient green space, including parks, trails, and waterfront access to meet our current and future demand for such space? And would you do more to ensure Sooke is actively engaged in climate action planning?
Thank you. During the pandemic.
Sorry,
Oh,
Mick
Mick's the
Rhodes
first?
gets that, yeah.
okay, sorry.
All right. Because of time constraints, I'll address only the first part of the question. I am all for extreme climate change mitigation consultation. In 2024, Sooke will be celebrating the 25th anniversary of its incorporation. If elected as your mayor representing your views, I will lobby my fellow councillors and consult with planning staff to draw up a plan of action for acquiring the Seacliff waterfront properties. This waterfront park acquisition could be our gift to the district of Sooke. And we could also be the recipients of this gift, and future generations that come after us could also share in this gift. Open up your eyes and your heart, Sooke. If elected mayor, I will. 1, after extensive study and fact-finding and with due consideration, make a motion to council to consider instructing staff to prepare a feasibility study report for acquiring the Seacliff waterfront properties. Lobby our provincial Premier John Horgan and our federal MP Randall Garrison to support the park acquisition with funding. Inquire into arranging and procuring a low-interest loan, 10 years, from the Municipal Finance Authority. Lobby council to put Lot A at Wadham's Way up as a land swap or put it for sale or as collateral property back in the MFA loan. The treat area along the foreshore has a protective covenant in place that allows no infrastructure development. It is a popular nesting site for large flocks of cormorant and Canada geese. I'll lobby the CRD Parks Acquisition Fund to partner up with Sooke and secure this foreshore section, and consult the Sooke Band about a potential joint agreement partnership with them. If an agreement in principle is reached with security by the District of Sooke staff, District of Sooke, motion for a public referendum to be held. Thank you.
During the pandemic, when we were closed in and trying to navigate our Zoom boxes, we heard the message about getting outside. So we did. And in that time, many of us began to explore the trail network that already existed within our community, many for the first time. And we began to realize just how near and dear and important this system was, and how easily we can begin creating safe links so that our children can play safely with friends after school, and we can get about the community quite easier. I'm very proud of the connections that we've established and the work that is currently underway. My alternate at the CRD, Jeff Bateman, would probably tell me how many hectares exactly have been allocated to the Park Reserve Fund through the whole C2C Greenbelt that is our neighboring area here, and the work that we've also done to create more of these areas within Sooke. So I'm very proud of the advocacy that we've done, as well as what the regional board has done. Meanwhile, though, in terms of a safe future, it's what our children bring to us. So one thing I'm proud about is the stairs and the access to Canes Park. Little known, not traveled by car certainly, but for our children of Sooke Elementary, they know this area well. And they go down and they explore the tide. They tell me about the garbage they see, the disappointment with the refuse that ends up in the water, and they're bringing these messages home. And through all the work of what our students do, I've been blessed to be inside Poyer, and they have fantastic, brilliant ideas, recognizing the territory is home for all of us, not just people, but the creatures that share these lands. And how do we protect these together? The Sooke Elementary also took plantings from Lot A before the library was constructed and created a hole under the Cedars garden that recognizes the plants. And they tell me about these because they see them when they're out in the wild spaces. So let's work together, bash the broom out, get more of our children the spaces they need and the ability to recreate, and together we'll create a nurturing and friendly community for all of us. Thank you.
Question number 4. This is our last question. What is your vision for Sooke in the year 2030?
This was an interesting one because 2030 isn't that far away, actually. And we're currently under the Douglas Treaty, so I'm hopeful that the Tmuk Treaty will be signed. And with that, we'll see regional representation by all Indigenous people at the regional board. We'll also see revitalization of the Sooke language and knowing where those locations are in our community. Broom has been removed. Knotweed is no longer plugging up our river and harming our salmon stocks. And we're seeing more and more collective action to plant a solid tree canopy throughout Sooke. We continue to gather together, enjoy great food in the company and friendships of others, and invite others to be with us. Our residents feel safe moving around our community, and that's not just by driving, but it's about walking or scooting or rolling about. The trail linkages are finally connected and they're known. The stickleback markers and the other markers are known and clear throughout our town. Sooke Elementary has been rebuilt. It's actually been planned. It's going to happen, they say, before 2030, but that school will be off the main highway. And it'll free up congested that is in a really difficult place. Transit service not only goes in and out of Sooke, but it goes around Sooke. And Handy Dart service is delivered more than twice a week here to our residents that need access to that care. We have 24/7 coverage through police and fire, and paramedics are valued and paid for the contributions they do. And those working in those front lines no longer have to take additional shifts and double shifts. They actually have time to be with their families because we've attracted a vibrant workforce. Sooke is known to young people as a place to come and to give their talents because we know that gray tsunami is here and we're losing people to retirement. But what a great amount of mentors we have to lift up and to show the way to the young people graduating out of this school. Thank you.
Imagine small businesses in Sooke are choked full of tourists and day trippers 7 days a week. They all love coming to Sooke, and they'll tell their friends about what a great place it is to visit. And in a few days or more, they all go home, but other tourists and day trippers arrive to replace them, non-permanent residents. And there was growing employment in the Sooke tourist industry. Why? Because we market Sooke as the gateway to the rainforest. While small businesses prosper, local entrepreneurs and outside investors have set up fabricating assembly plants in our light industrial zones. A rustic furniture manufacturer churns out knockoff IKEA furniture. Someone operates a modular housing manufacturing assembly plant that ships prefabricated tiny homes up and down the island and to the mainland. A visionary pioneer has designed an electric golf cart prototype, the Sooke Newt. It is driven off-road or around Sooke. Tourists rent them by the dozen for touring the Sooke area, and some of them place orders for purchase. A satellite university campus in the form of Sooke Elementary School offers programs in emerging high-tech, sustainable alternative agriculture practices, and the tourism and hospitality fields. Students assign work-study modules, assist local businesses and enterprises. The Sooke Urgent Medical Emergency Health Clinic on Wadham's Way offers standard medical and alternative health treatment services, along with the modern ancillary emergency response service. The gathering place is booked bi-monthly with live music events, fundraisers. Music fans flock from Victoria to take in the evening performances. On the weekends, there's an expanded farmers market and a weekly swap and shop in Sooke Harbourview Park. The Emmanuel Creek Golf Course has allowed disc golfers to share the greenways with regular golfers. Disc golfers by the carloads flock to Sooke like seagulls. The new foot passenger ferry service from Sooke Harbour View Park to East Sooke is a popular excursion route for cycling enthusiasts, hikers, and East Sooke residents. Imagine that, Sooke.
Thank you, candidates. That is the end of our question period. We are moving into closing statements right now. Each candidate has prepared their closing statements, and the closing statements are going to be 3 minutes long, starting with Maya Tate.
Thank you, everyone. You always think you have a lot of time, and then it goes by really fast. And so I just want to take this moment to thank all of you for all that you do in our community. From the helping hands today, the volunteers that put this event together, the candidates that have put themselves up for election, all the volunteers, our frontline and essential workers. I'd like to acknowledge and thank all the service providers, those at the food bank, those that worked through the United Way, calling people, asking people through the pandemic, how are you doing and what do you need and how can I help you? I'd like to thank the development community for speaking out when things doesn't sit right and for finding a way and to reach out that we need to work together, that our goals are the same. We want to create a beautiful community that captures the character of Sooke and one that remains kind, warm, and friendly. There is a war in the Ukraine right now, and many of our residents have opened up not only their hearts, but their homes to accommodate people that are fleeing in a most terrific way. And these new residents, welcome to anyone that is here, are also finding ways to give back and contribute to our community. And all of this is what brings us together. We can continue arguing about our differences and what sets us apart and why my idea is better than yours and back and forth. But what does that accomplish in the end? Not very much. Not very much. So if we find ways to come together, to share, to even ask, okay, you're not on board, but what would work for you? Those small things can make a difference in getting the infrastructure that we need in place, the housing to help those that need a place to live, not just those within our community, but those that we want to house. We need that workforce, so what works for them? This is a multifaceted approach that will take all of us giving their very best. And if reelected, that is what I'm going to do, is to give my best and to draw out the very best in everyone that is elected to stand with me. And we will get to work. We will recognize that we may have differences, but in a democracy, that is healthy, and that is what we want. So let's do it in a space that is trust and respect and collaborative. And I'm confident that you will continue to be proud of this town. I like opposition because it keeps it spicy and real, and it provides a perspective of maybe what I haven't heard. So thank you, Mick. And to all of you for what you're doing. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the weekend, and good luck to everyone that's serving. Thank you.
My priorities, if elected, would be create a central waterfront park and Citizens Plaza in the town center, celebrating the 25th anniversary of Sooke's incorporation while there is still an opportunity. Let us approach Seacliff Properties and offer them a comprehensive development alternative with incentives and swap Lot A on Wadham's Way. Seacliff can build their tower blocks on the north side of Sooke Road in the town center, and we have our central waterfront park. limit the rate of population growth by carefully focusing on providing truly affordable home ownership alternatives. We're not talking about rentals, tiny housing communities for local residents who earn or receive a modest income. That includes a lot of different groups. I have more to say in detail. Check out my website. Introduce traffic calming measures into neighborhoods by first lowering the speed limit and let the neighborhood decide at what speed they want it to be. Set up a variable plebiscite as to the wishes of your neighborhood. We'll change it. I'll also lobby the province to lower the speed limit to 30 kilometers an hour on Sooke Road in the downtown core. The land rush is on. If you're looking for tranquility, Sooke, then we've got to slow down the pace, plan to leave early, slow down the race. Then there's no hurry, no worry, no fear. If you're looking for peace of mind, why don't you try it out, Sooke? Slow down. We're moving too fast. And revive All Sooke Day. It should be a day honoring all of our volunteer groups and conceivably a volunteer drive to recruit new members. I envision rows of volunteer tables advertising and promoting their services. There would also be a local arts and craft displays, children's activities, a salmon derby, barbecue, with the open fire pits and cooking racks like we old Sookeites remember in bygone days. Let's have an open stage for local musicians and schedule evening musical performances. Sooke's own Midsummer Night's Dream. There could be a championship horseshoe tournament, invitational baseball tournament, smoked salmon contest. Let's all be creative and join in. All of these ideas can be done at minimal cost and provide tremendous public benefits and foster community pride. There you are, Sooke. I've heard it said we regret more the things we didn't do than the things that we did do. It's now your time to choose. You can choose tower blocks blocking the soul of Sooke, or a central waterfront park showcasing the soul of Sooke. Have you got heart, Sooke, to do the latter? Boy.
Thank you, candidates. We are doing really good on time, so we have some time to get questions from the audience. And each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer those questions.
If you have a question for the candidate, please line up either stage left here or stage right there, and we will pick you to come up. Really? This is the chance.
I guess Maya might have an extra opportunity at this one because she's sitting mayor, but with the OCP in the situation it's in now, where will we be headed with the OCP after this next election? And I open that up to either candidate. Thank you.
Mick Rhodes, did you want to answer that question?
Yes, sure. I think the OCP, it's a wonderful document. We are revising it, and I think we had the council meeting there the other night, and there was a lot of reservations from people. They said, we love the OCP, but there's something here I don't agree with. So I'm going, okay, well, I guess maybe we have to look at it a little bit closer. I know the development community was somewhat, worried about some of the things in there, and I kind of went, yeah, I think that could be a problem. I'm not going to bring them up or anything like that. But the thing is, for me, I look at the downtown development, and we have south of Sooke Road, we have 3 to 4 story housing, that type of thing. And then we have our comprehensive development, 6 to 8, floor tower blocks. All right, that's what we're facing. And I'm kind of going, as far as the comprehensive development goes, I really think anything that's going to be 6, 8 stories high should be on the north side of Sooke Road, not on the south side. And what worries me is, where the church road lights across from the school, They're going to build tower blocks there. They're going to put in a shopping strip. They're going to pave over Paradise and put in a parking lot. And that beautiful landscape we have there is going to be obliterated. All right? That is the soul of Sooke. And in our town center plans, they're talking about, it's going to be medium density, high density on the south side of Sooke Road. And I'm going, nowhere in the official community plan does it actually talk about park space. You've got sort of green space, trails leading down to the water. But I'm talking about parks. There's no parks on the south side. There's no plans for that. That's why I'm really pushing this waterfront park, because if we're going to have medium density, high density on the south side, then we need green space, we need a park.
Thanks for the question. So is everyone here familiar with an OCP? Kind of, yes, no? Okay, so it's an official community plan. It's a master planning document, and it's one of many that determines how a community shapes its growth over time. And so the decision that was made by the outgoing council is that we're at the 11th hour in our term. We hear from the development community that they have some concerns, and we need to consult a little better. A lot of the work was done when we were shut in a little bit, and that left the engagement to those that were able to do so in a virtual way. But we know that there's some problems that we need to work through, so let's spend some time understanding what those are. This will be a priority for the incoming council. So I'm assuming everyone in the audience here, especially in the first couple of rows, have read through it and at least understand what it's all about. But it is a significant document. It's 10 years out of date. Or it's 10 years old, pardon me, and usually they're updated every 5 years. Why it's important now is because if you're following Minister Eby's announcements, he is coming through, and the province is committed to free up the housing supply that may be held back by local governments. So there is a process that they've announced. It's called the Development Approval Process Review. I've been involved in that as an elected official and given some feedback in that way. But they are working right now with staff, with consulting groups, with the development community to find out exactly what the hurdles are and how we can get over them. So this is some of the work that's taking shape right now, and this document will be brought forward to the incoming council so that they can have an opportunity to understand it. I have full confidence in our staff to bring forward the answers to questions that are asked, and through the orientation process to become familiar with both this as well as many other master planning documents that we have, including our 5-year financial plan that sets out how we actually pay for things, and also council's priorities and where they fall. Thank you.
We will be taking these two questions.
Hi, thank you. My name is Mohammed. You've partially addressed one of the issues about growth in Sooke, but my question is getting a little more specific because I understand life is constantly about change, whether it's personal, whether it's work, whether it's every facet of life. The problem is we have a pace of change going on here that seems excessive. We have development that is going on that seems unchecked, and we don't have the infrastructure to manage it. We have one road going from Sooke to Langford, and if that road is closed, as we found out last year in November, what are we doing to manage that balance between growth and maintaining the infrastructure that we need? That is my question.
Mick Rhodes. Mick Rhodes.
Well, as I've said before, there's only one road that really actually leads to Sooke, and until we fix that road, I think maybe we should be slowing down growth in Sooke. All right, slowing it down. let's be reasonable, what have you. The more people that move here, the more congestion, and we're gonna have gridlock, even with the 85 million, my words, white elephant we got there at the 17 mile. I don't think that's really going to change matters, but that's another story. As far as the people that have already arrived here, I've also said that, yeah, let's provide the infrastructure for the people that have already arrived here, who live here. Let's look after the people that are here already. It seems as though we're planning for the people that haven't arrived yet. I'm going, we're not addressing the people that actually live here. We do have a lot of young families, people on modest incomes that, yeah, affordable housing. I don't think so if you can find it. A lot of people in our community are couch surfing, staying in basements with their parents, that sort of thing. That's where we have to get creative with our housing initiatives in the sense that let's really think about how we can make it affordable for a lot of people on modest incomes. All right, they can't afford $1 million homes.
Thank you for the question. This is a multi-pronged answer here in what we need to do, and it builds on the work that is currently underway. So improvements to Highway 14. We know that that's underway right now, and we know that the province has plans for more. Our internal road network. You may have noticed the surveyors out that are out on every major corridor right now looking on how they can advance and improve those sections. Lining up the funding, I spoke about asset management, the need for reserves, and the need to be prepared for the grant opportunities when the windows open. In terms of housing, years ago we did a housing needs analysis, and that led to the construction, or what is under construction right now in Sooke. So these units are for individuals and for families that are couch surfing or that are in places where they need more permanency. So that's what informed this work, and that's why it's being built today. We also know, and we have a shovel-ready project on Lot A called the Gathering Place, and that'll also provide accessible housing for elders in our community that want to downsize out of the properties that they currently have. A local employment strategy has been identified through our community economic development, and that's building on the work done by the Chamber of Commerce, other stakeholders, and what they've contributed to create more vibrant and local opportunities so we have fewer people commuting out. Building up access to health care. There's significant movement here in Sooke to address what we need in terms of not just doctors, but also other allied health practitioners that can deliver the necessary local service locally to keep people from having to rely on transportation elsewhere. Transit, our local Sooke transit plan has already been approved. It was to be implemented, but unfortunately COVID took a big chunk out of those expansion plans, yet it's still a short-term priority for Victoria Regional Transit Commission. Let's see, childcare. We know that there's a shortage in spaces, and working with others to attract those workers and to build those spaces, particularly for before and after out of our school-age children, are also a priority and continue to be. Thank you.
We will now take our last question here.
I'm just wondering what you two would do for the LGBTQ community.
Maya Tate.
Thank you for the question. When Brenda Parkinson served on the Arts Council, her group put together a beautiful design for a rainbow crosswalk that we wanted to feature within the town center. And we're working with the ministry so that they can approve the paint to do that. Now, in the meantime, the crosswalk isn't here, and that's a bit frustrating, so we need to look at a different road. We did a little bit of work over with Poy and Journey, and we created like one that has star flowers on it, on that particular crosswalk. That's what the children wanted to see. But in the meantime, we've changed our flag policy. So we fly that flag every year without question. It goes up and it flies. At the moment, though, we're flying the Ukraine flag, and so it may not be visible, but it's certainly there. What is important to me is that all members of our community feel safe, that they belong, that they're included, and that the world is not just black and white. However, the rainbow offers a spectrum of colors, and all are important. This is the shift we need to have here. When I have a child tell me that they want to change the color of their skin because of something that's been said in our community, I have a problem with that. And so those of you that are allies and that hear this, you cannot just console the victim when it happens. You need to stand up and call it out so that children don't need to ask this question. That is my challenge right now, is that you had to ask that, because you should feel that it should be visible here. And every election, the young people are asking for this. So thank you for that reminder. Thank you for reminding me that we have more work to do in our community, and I'm prepared to stand there with you.
It's something I've reckoned with a long time, and I've learned, I guess from we'll say a spiritual sense of view, that there is duality. We all are a lot of masculine, feminine. Some of us are more masculine, less feminine. More feminine, less masculine. And I think when we come into this world, we all are a different sort. So I think with a young child, that when they are learning about themselves, what their preferences are, we should encourage them. There's got to be that inclusivity that, yes, we all come from different stripes. You know, that duality, left, right, up and down, feminine, masculine, those, what do you want to call them? Opposing, coming together. But really, we're all in it together, and we should be respectful to anybody, no matter what leanings they have. So I think probably in school, early childhood education, let's really remind this child that you can be what you want to be if you feel comfortable with that.
Thank you, candidates. We really enjoyed listening to their statements and hearing their answers to our questions. And you could really tell that they're both very passionate about Sooke. We are going to take a short break and reconvene at 3 o'clock. See you guys back. Okay, welcome back, everyone. We are moving into our councillor statements. We have 20 candidates running for the Sooke councillor. They each have 2 minutes to deliver a prepared statement. Before this event, we actually had a draw, and the candidates are going to be speaking in that order. We're going to start with our first speaker, Herb Haldane.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. As a candidate for this next 4 years, I'd like to focus on doing things that are reasonably possible. I've done this before, and I know where we end up getting off topic and we end up moving on to things that we can't necessarily commit to or accomplish. I'd like to connect more roads and trails in Sooke, work on our traffic issues. I'd like to pursue more housing options for people and to champion some short-term solutions because we have people living in trailers and people's yards now and things like that. They need better servicing than they have. I'd like to keep our parks intact, offer more recreational opportunities, especially as our population grows. As I do believe in global warming and global need for action, I do not want to spend millions of tax dollars tackling an issue that I don't think we can possibly fix. Our little town is not going to change the massive scale that is needed to accomplish fix to global warming. I want to see money instead used to find more doctors, develop more theaters, senior centers. I want to focus on what's possible, and I want to spend my 4 years doing that. Oops, sorry about that. Thank you very much for coming out today. I appreciate your vote.
Kevin Pearson.
Thank you, everyone, for being here and giving us this opportunity to give 2-minute snapshot of what we do or what we plan on doing. I've been here twice before, in 2011 and 2014. I think I did a reasonable job as a councillor in the past. I think what I bring to the table is enthusiasm. I was born in Sooke 65 years ago. Have I seen changes? Yeah. Do I like all of them? No. Do I like a lot of things that are happening? Absolutely. My kids live here. They earn their living in construction industry. I have grandchildren now who are in grade 3 and grade 4. I love Sooke. I've always loved Sooke. And if you want somebody who's got enthusiasm to bring rational decisions, I'm a team leader. I'm a proven guy in my career. I can develop consensus. I value people's opinion. I love Sooke. I don't bring a lot more than that other than my experience, but I can guarantee you, I'll listen to you. I love that you live here, and I love everyone that's out here today on a nice sunny October 1st. Do we need some changes? You bet. Our traffic's congested. Our housing is unaffordable. Our processes take too long. Those are things that we have to focus on if we're going to continue on living in the best place on earth. So thank you for your vote, and look forward to seeing you guys on October 15th.
Trevor Paul.
Thank you. Hello. My name is Trevor Paul. I'm running for council because I love this community. This is my home, and I genuinely want to make a positive impact here. As a father to 2 young children and husband, I also feel like there's a need to have a voice at the decision table to represent the best interests of Sooke families. Now, my top 3 issues are increasing sidewalks, reducing traffic congestion, and protecting our parks. Over 80% of our streets have no sidewalk, and to me, this is just unacceptable. If elected, I'll work with council to make investments in the sidewalks a priority for the next 4 years. Bring that 80% down. On congestion, I commute daily. I understand how untenable the situation out there has become. For those of you who don't know, it's brutal. And that's why I think we need to do something. I think we should be exploring and implementing unique short-term solutions to ease congestion during peak hours while planning for longer-term infrastructure solutions like roundabouts or the Throop Road connector. On parks, I'm a firm believer that we need to protect our limited green space from development. I'm not a supporter of the Lions' proposal to build a new facility within John Phillips Memorial Park. And if elected, I'll make every effort to make sure that project doesn't go ahead within our park. On a more personal note, I consider myself a hard worker. I'm a strong communicator. I enjoy learning from others. If elected, I will be open and accessible to everyone in this community, whether you vote for me or not. And I'm a team player. I would relish the opportunity to work collaboratively with the elected mayor and other councillors, as well as Sooke District staff to represent this community in a positive manner over the next 4 years. Thank you.
Anna Russell.
My favorite part of this campaign so far has been knocking on doors, oddly enough. You or your neighbors have locked up your dogs. You've sent your kids to get a drink from the fridge. You've left your dinners on the table. Some of you were working, but you turned off your chainsaw or your lawnmower. And at other houses, you sat in your walkers. You stood in your bathrobes or next to your car in your work clothes and the engine was still hot from a long commute home. There were a few digressions, like from your kid who wanted to tell me about their really cool Halloween costume. But then you told me what you think about Sooke. The conversations have been complex and intense, but if I had to summarize them, I would say that we are not a community divided. Most of you wanted very similar things. You want to protect what makes Sooke special, and that includes our beautiful ocean, our views and farmland, and the way we live intertwined with nature. You want to seek a better balance between development and the needs of our community. And you want good management at the district from people who keep your interests at heart. We talked about all the big issues: growth, traffic, affordable housing, and we talked about the details of our infrastructure, the sewers, the roads, and the sidewalks. As a councillor, I want to help with these issues. And I like to develop practical solutions to complex problems. But I'm also interested in what you think. Because in my experience in government and in a District of Sooke committee, guiding great ideas from community members through the process of government is one of the things that I find most rewarding. I'm ready to serve and to work with the mayor and council that you elect on October 15th. I'm Anna Russell, and I'm asking for your vote. Thank you.
Rob Anderson.
Hello, I'm Rob Anderson. I'd like to really thank the Chamber for putting this on, everybody for joining us here today, and all of our fellow candidates. I think it's really important that we recognize that we've got a lot of people here that are really wanting to work hard for the town of Sooke. And that's good community. That's really important. So, originally we had 90 seconds, now it's 2 minutes, and I'm just gonna not even take that. Basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna reach out to all my fellow candidates, and I'm putting an invitation for an all candidates meeting and forum for all of the residents of Sooke, so you can come out and you can actually talk to us one-on-one. Find out who we really are, because we can't explain that in 90 seconds or 2 minutes. These are all complex issues that we're hearing about today, and it's not just something that you sort over in a few seconds. I want to give you the honor and respect of being able to have that conversation. There's been a lot said that some of us are running on a slate. I'd like to clarify right now, no, we're not running on a slate. We're a bunch of like-minded individuals who are being fiscally responsible by pooling our resources together and working as a team, which is a miniature community. So I'd like to put out an invitation. Please check out our site that we're working on together, electionsforchange.ca. See who we are. Come talk to us. Send us an email. You know, we just want to be a part of the community as a whole and to work together to improve everything as a whole. So October 11th, we're going to put this together. It'll be at the Sooke Community Center. And we're going to be finding a moderator that is going to be fair and impartial. We don't want anybody having a runaway show. We want it to be fair. We want it for the township of Sooke. So anyway, I'm Rob Anderson, and thank you very much for your time and your patience.
Tony St. Pierre.
All right. Well, I think the first thing I'd like to just mention is Leonard Cohen, and one of the best lines from one of his best songs, and that's "Ring the bell that still can ring. There is a crack in everything, that's how the light gets in." And I really want to appreciate everyone here who's actually running for council, because everyone here wants to ring that bell, has thoughts, ideas They figure that municipal matters most, this is a place to do it. And so I really appreciate that, and I hope that whoever gets on council, we're going to maintain the level of respect and civility that happened with our last council, and then we'll move forward. So I applaud everyone, and I invite everyone. The next thing I'd like to talk about is resilience, adaptation, climate change, our local economy, transportation, affordable housing, and everything else. Yeah, big time. The thing that I want to talk about here is that although all of these things seem very complicated, and they are complicated, they're all interrelated, and there's a message of hope in all of this. I think the biggest thing that we need to be careful about is leaving people behind. There's a lot of people that are terrified that as we spend money on climate adaptation, we're not going to be considering Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which says they can't consider that unless they have food on the table for their children and a roof over their heads. And it's fine to consider single-family detached and home ownership, but right now, we desperately need affordable housing, affordable rentals, so that our local economy can actually have people serving coffee, serving tourists, doing work, building houses, whatever it might be. We desperately need affordable rentals. And that means that we can't simply be looking at one solution and the solutions of the past. We're in a time of unprecedented change. We need to take the best pieces of the past and bring them into the future, but we can't simply stick to past ideologies. We have to look at what's going to work for us. And we all have to work together on this, and we have to onboard everybody. We can't leave anybody behind. Because as soon as we leave people behind, they're potentially working against us, possibly against their best interests, who knows? But if we bring everybody on board, we are so much stronger in moving forward. So I suggest that the job of this council, the job of provincial government, federal government, but I honestly believe that municipal matters most, and that Sooke is the place that I chose to be because there is already a powerful sense of community in Sooke for people to work together. That's what Sooke has always done. That's what makes this place great. Please vote.
Lorian Arnold.
Hello, my name is Lorian Arnold, and I am finally running for council. My family and I moved here 18 years ago, and we are very pleased to be here on the unceded territory of the Sooke Nation. I just wanted to acknowledge that young person who showed courage coming up early, asking their question, wherever they are. I think it's important. It's a tough question. As a council member, the kinds of things that would guide me in my decisions, not going into specifics, general principles of like liberal democracies that we have in Canada, like the right to healthcare, the right to public education, social safety net, environmental stewardship. All those things are important to me, always have been, and I apply those principles to all the decisions that I would make on council, and they would guide me in talking with people. I'm not what you'd call a team player. I'm intensely individualistic. I'm very independent. I owned a business in Sooke for 16 and a half years, owned and operated it myself. I've hired like a number of young people over the years. I have a very good insight in this community. I've dealt with every demographic. And what I can say is that I don't see council as being necessarily a team. I see it as being a collective. It's a group of people with different ideas that come together and try to make difficult decisions. That's a strength that I think that I bring, and I hope you agree. So we'll see you on October 15th, and get your vote on. Thank you.
Susan Belford.
Oh, well. So thank you for coming out on this gorgeous day. Local government is responsible for resident safety and well-being. And key to having a safe, healthy population, I think, is community resilience. You scooped me, Tony. That's the strength to withstand sudden changes and keep people safe. Climate is one such change that Sooke is facing, but it's not the only one. For example, disrupted Supply chains can do a lot of damage for us. I think in order to build Sooke's community resilience, we need to slow population growth and support our existing community, improving infrastructure so that then we can welcome more people. We need to build a strong local economy with good jobs at local businesses so that we can shop and work and live here instead of having to travel outside. We need to create truly affordable housing for those who are in core housing need. And my goodness, we need to support our farmers. We need to help residents be able to choose cheaper, more efficient, lower emissions heating and cooling systems. And we need to make sure that our new buildings have those things too. And of course, we need to fully implement the very good Transportation Master Plan. That will help us deal with congestion, better circulation around the community, and it will keep people safer in all modes. Like many, I'm concerned about cost, and the cost of increased resilience certainly shouldn't be borne solely by property tax payers. But it has to be shared with senior governments, and it also will be shared in coming years with the companies that are responsible for some of our climate pollution. And is that red? Uh-oh, I took too long. Please vote for me on October 15th. Thank you.
Robin Holm.
Hi, my name's Robin Holm. I live here in Cecinas, and I've chosen Sooke as my home because of the natural beauty of this land and the character of our community. As a member of council, I would use my platform to advocate for climate action, equity and inclusion, and meeting the needs of our community. I'll tell you a little bit about me. I'm 28. I have a degree in science, major in chemical biology. I'm agender. I work as a project manager in the nonprofit sector. I spent this spring volunteering with the Canadian Conservation Corps and the Nature Conservancy of Canada. I'm running for council because I would like to help steer our community towards sustainability and climate resilience while upholding equity, reconciliation, and the well-being of all residents regardless of identity, health, and socioeconomic status. Through thoughtful planning and sustainable development, we can uphold the natural beauty of our land while improving access to affordable food, housing, healthcare, and services. We need to build a community that makes room for all residents, preserving habitat for wildlife and natural green spaces that we all benefit from. We are part of the ecosystem. The land is the foundation of our community, and the health of our environment is central to the health of our residents. We need to make science-based, results-oriented decisions that take into account the needs of all. We are facing a climate crisis, and we will need to be adaptable and resilient. There's an urgent need to change our relationship with our environment, and leadership at all levels of government is needed to transition towards a more sustainable, livable future. I would like to see Sooke invest in long-term urban planning and resilient infrastructure that will help us overcome the challenges we will face as our planet warms. I'm eager to engage in thoughtful consultation and informed decision-making needed to preserve the health and natural beauty of our land as our community grows and develops. Thank you.
Dana LaJeunesse.
It's a little awkward without the podium. I want to thank everyone for coming out today. It's good to see so many people engaged in our public process. Sooke has always been a welcoming community from the time the first European settlers arrived until today. My family arrived in the 20s and 30s and has firmly planted roots that continue to grow. Over the past several years, BC has been welcoming 100,000 new residents annually. And with the geopolitical system continuing to get weird, this trend will inevitably continue for the foreseeable future. Add to that the emerging trend of climate refugees from the interior of the province and more recently hurricanes on the East Coast. Folks will seek refuge in our more moderate climate. And so we will need to continue to welcome new residents. What this means is that we'll need to continue to provide housing for people. It's no secret that our transportation network has failed to keep pace with development. And this has been a concern for many years, and although it may not be evident as of yet, much work has been done over the past couple of years to bring these infrastructure projects to life. But it takes money, and I'll continue to pursue by all means necessary to acquire the funds to bring these projects to life. Economic development remains high on my list of priorities. We need to create employment opportunities to keep people in Sooke and develop vibrant town center that we've been waiting for many years. We've been through some things over the past few years. Within a few weeks of my success in the by-election of 2019, COVID, that among many other unprecedented challenges added to the learning curve as a new councillor, and I feel now as though I'm just getting started. It's been the greatest honor of my life to serve over the past 3 years, and I hope to continue for the next 4. Thank you.
Stephanie Welters.
I wrote something down, but I probably won't use it. So my name's Stephanie, and much like Kevin, I grew up here. I'm a 5th generation Sooke person, and I don't think anyone here has as much passion for this community as I do. See? I volunteer a lot in various organizations in our community, and I really feel like being a counselor will be the ultimate way that I can give back to each and every one of you. So I have lots of ideas. We all have the same issues. Infrastructure isn't keeping up with the development and population growth. The traffic is out of control, and I'd like to expand on those with all of you tomorrow at the meet and greet. Thank you.
Maria Powers.
Everybody's had such wonderful ideas, and people love Sooke. I know I do, and it's really wonderful to listen to what people are saying, the people that are running today, because I feel like everybody has such passion and drive to make Sooke the best that it can be. Honestly, I'm not even reading my thing here because what I believe Sooke can be, we can be a destination. We can have artisan shops and boutiques and new restaurants and a waterfront park, like Mick was saying. I think that we really should focus our attention on preserving our waterfront that we have. I know that myself, when I'm driving into Sooke and I look out over to the basin and I can see the Olympic Mountains, I feel peace in my heart. It's the first time in my life I've actually felt peace in my heart from where I live. And I love Sooke, and I love our community. And I want to fight, and I want to preserve what we have, because it is so important to me and to the future generations that we have this. We need to keep it. I will listen and I will fight for our town and our community because I love it. I love our town. And I want to see growth, and I want local businesses to thrive so our young people don't have to drive into Victoria or elsewhere for a job. It would also help with our infrastructure, because right now, obviously, we don't have it right now. Driving to Langford or Victoria is torture. And creating jobs here in our beautiful town will help alleviate some of that traffic. So I would love to hear from you. If you would go onto my website at electionsforchange.ca, you can message me and I will get back to you. I would really, really want to hear your opinions and what you see. Thank you.
Al Beddoes.
Good afternoon. My wife Jane and I have lived and volunteered in Sooke for 32 years. I have family here, 2 daughters and 5 grandchildren. I have served Sooke from pre-incorporation times, serving on the Advisory Planning Commission and most recently Sooke Councillor, Chair of Sea Park Commission, past President of the Sooke Historical Society. I volunteer with the Sooke Lions, Sooke Hospice, and the Sooke Food Bank. Issues. One of the main issues is alleviate the traffic congestion. We want to do that by implementing the Transportation Master Plan through road extension. This will take traffic off of Highway 14 and help reduce the traffic that often backs up to Casinos. This extension will also align to a possible second crossing of the Sooke River. Growth. Growth is inevitable. We need to manage growth, keeping our unique rural characteristics. Finding the balance is complicated, but I feel my past experience will lend well to navigating these issues. We need to eliminate delays in our building permit process. Not just new builds, but also renovations and additions to current homes. At present, it is frustrating and taking far too long. I am in favor of a sewer expansion to the Kiltassan area, mainly to protect our Sooke Basin from older, failing septic fields. I am not convinced that the Whiff and Spit area requires sewers at this time. Climate action. We need realistic, achievable climate action goals. Balancing those goals with affordability, that will be the test. In conclusion, we can't solve all the world's problems. It is important that we stay focused on district issues. In the next 4 years, we need level heads, the ability to work for all of Sooke, and I can believe I can deliver just that. I'm Al Beddoes. Thank you.
Jeff Bateman.
Hello, everyone. Jeff Bateman. I'm running for re-election on October 15th, and these last years have been incredibly eventful, as we all know. I avoided COVID until recently, and I'm happy to report I'm on the far side of it while maintaining a cough that I will fear will interrupt this speech, but I'll carry on regardless, and that's my theme today, carrying on. I am keen to see through the directions that the current council and staff team have initiated since 2018. You will find those directions captured very explicitly in the new master plans and reports we've endorsed: transportation, parks and trails, community development, climate action, and housing needs, and of course our pending official community plan, which will be in the hands of the next council for what I trust will be a final round of public and expert stakeholder input. I rate the OCP as an exceptionally good document that reinforces themes found in all other plans in Sooke dating back at least 50 years. I want to paraphrase what the advisory committee said, what they heard from you, the public: strong desire to maintain and enhance Sooke's unique character, environmental protection, focused town center growth, good relations with the South, improved road networks to deal with our traffic jams, and united community support for climate action. So yes, let's do those things with fiscal responsibility, advocacy, and action. There's no question there are huge challenges ahead. The main one for me is to find the sweet spot in our population capacity. As others have said, our mostly two-lane highway is a very real limit to growth. We must deal with this hard fact before we wind up in our worst gridlock nightmare. In the weeks leading up to the last week's public hearing on the OCP, I've heard some misleading statements that the new OCP will clear-cut Sooke, turn us into Langford, the district wants to ban wood-burning stoves, that our climate action plan will cost millions. I can only advise you to do your own research, get the facts, and please trust me that Sooke Council and Mayor and all of us running this election want to be of best possible service to this community. Thank you.
Jeff Stewart. Sorry, my mistake. It's Adam Noseworthy.
Hello, everyone. I'm a local builder and an avid gardener. Growing food and our local food security has been my biggest concern since the purchase of our home in Sooke over a decade ago. In light of global trends, I'd love to see community-based initiatives to get idle land back to work and encourage new farmers. We could work with new partners to help create self-sustaining food production, business and employment opportunities. It would be great to find and apply effective supports for our farmers, even if it's simple as a break in their water bills or perhaps water capture and storage. By increasing our production, we minimize our reliance on unsustainable systems, they're growing very expensive by the way, strengthen our community's health, and increase our resilience during hard times. We can create abundance. Good clean food coupled with improved access to holistic and allopathic care ensures a healthy and therefore productive community. My plan, as your councillor, is to lead by example with heart-based solutions and mirror things we're already doing at home and apply it to the greater community. I hope to encourage more self-responsibility by expanding our growing spaces so we're fed and well-nourished, improving our access to local health care so we can function and contribute, and reduce our waste by recycling more. I can help deliver much-needed positive change and business opportunities while exercising fiscal and environmental responsibility and open and honest accountability. I believe there are no problems, only solutions. As a builder, I have some creative ideas surrounding cheap housing, and I'd love to share them with you guys. I invite you to grow with me and help me guide Sooke's growth into something we can all be proud of. Please check out our website to learn more about me and my friends at electionsforchange.ca. Thank you very much.
Jeff Stewart.
Thanks everybody for coming today. I'll just introduce myself. I'm Jeff Stewart, lifelong Sooke resident. I've raised two kids here who are now 16 and 19 years old. I'm the store manager at Western Foods, and I also served on Sooke's first council in 1999 when we incorporated. My volunteer experience includes many years coaching my kids' teams locally in soccer and lacrosse. I've served as Sooke Soccer's interim president, and I also remain a director with the organization. I'm also a director with the Sooke Place Housing Society. In the past couple years, I've also volunteered with the Sooke Music Festival and the Sooke Fine Arts. My main motivation in running for council is to provide value for the Sooke taxpayer dollars. Too much of our hard-earned tax dollars are dedicated to administration and not enough on things that resonate with residents like sidewalks. The next council's immediate priorities should be solutions to our local traffic woes and how to increase affordable housing supply. Sooke also needs to identify how to diversify its commercial core off its Highway 14 and capitalize on our wonderful viewscapes. Sorry, I'm feeling a little bit of anxiety here, and I think I'm going to cut it at that, so my nerves are shaking. So on October 15th, vote for Jeff Stewart. Thank you.
Sean Millard.
I'm probably going to do the same thing as Jeff there. First of all, I'd like to say sorry to Mohammed. It's sorry you got shouted down there. That wasn't appropriate. And it's unfortunate we had two leader candidates here who said nothing. A couple issues I have in Sooke is what we're getting for our tax dollars. We have Church Road is in shambles. I counted from Ackerman to the new paving today. I passed 83 road defects. Developers need to patch the entire road. They can't just slap some asphalt down. We've had Charters Road a year ago washed out, and we've got some cones. We're less than a kilometer from two schools. Yet we have a brand new dog park. Our priorities have been crazy. Like, you don't lay down new hardwood flooring before you fix the hole in your roof. There's a lineup. My wife and me, to get our kids into swimming, have to both get on two separate computers and try and log in. We still didn't make it. And we hear things like empowerment, diversity, inclusion. But that's not a plan. On October 15th, vote for a plan. That's it.
Corinne Berdoa.
God, this is nerve-wracking. Okay. I would like to thank everyone that's here today, and obviously the Chamber of Commerce for organizing this event. Interestingly enough, there's been a lot of rumors about the fact that I don't live here, so just so you know, I am actually moving this month here, and I have previously been living in Sooke. My spouse, my in-laws have been in Sooke for over 50 years, so I have definitely roots in this community, and I love it. In a short time, I've seen an enormous amount of change in Sooke. Obviously, the increased population is creating all kinds of pressure on its infrastructure, causing all kinds of different things. Many have mentioned the increase in traffic, which is very impressive, I have to say, and all kinds of other things. Somebody else has mentioned activities for children. It's obvious. I have a daughter that works as a lifeguard at the community center. I can tell you she tells us all the time about those kinds of activities, so we're very mindful of those kinds of things. But here's my vision in terms of if you vote for me on October 15, I think we need an easy-to-read land use document, plan. It needs to not just inform how we actually use that land, but I do think that we need to protect our farmland and our green space. I do think that we need to support our economic growth in a way that it supports our own community. I think that we need to look at our permit process. I think it's very much too long, much too complicated, and I think our housing crisis is partly due to that. It makes things really very challenging for people if they want to create and build a new house, for example, on their own property for their children to live in. I think we need to have a plan that fits Sooke's needs, not the provincial's vision for what Sooke should be. I think that we need to be having creative, cooperative, and inclusive solutions that address that support our existing businesses, that attracts new ones so that we can have good employment opportunity for everyone so that we don't have to travel back and forth from Victoria.
Time.
And family resilience. It's over? Oh, God, okay, sorry. Well, I have so much more. Come and see us on 11th.
Steve Anderson.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Steve Anderson. I'm running for Sooke Council. I'm not going to talk about issues because there's way too many to list. Could go on forever. But I do believe in being genuine. And to be honest, I'd rather stand up for what's logical and what's fair than get elected. Small thing, with no disrespect to the Sooke Chamber of Commerce, but Britt Santowski was instructed not to be here to speak because it'd be a conflict in interest. And I'll say I disagree with that. I think she should be here speaking just as fairly as any of the other candidates. Thank you. As far as what makes a good government, well, issues are endless. There's lots of issues. We can talk for hours and hours and hours. And yes, I welcome everyone to come tomorrow to the Sooke Community Hall and on the 11th as well at the Sooke Community Hall and chat with me and other candidates. Sorry, I said what makes a good government is intelligent people, calm people, and leaders who realize they have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so they can listen twice as much as they speak. And I've been very open and honest in public about this. I've been admiring our mayor, Maya Tate's career the past several years, and I've seen that. And I've seen that with some of the other council members the past few years. And I've also been hearing that with some of the other candidates even running for this council. And also, I've started to hear a lot more of Sooke's voice, because people have brains, people have minds, and people are starting to get louder. I've been seeing everyone overall, past couple of years, rising up, speaking. And the fact that we have 23 people come out for council this year, and the fact that there is so many people last Tuesday at the OCP evening at Jessica Sooke. Oh, is that a red light? I better hurry up. Really gives me a lot of joy about democracy. So yeah, if you want to continue to see improvements in our community, even if I don't get elected, I'm still going to be involved. And people, get your ass out and vote. Thank you.
Megan McMath.
Hi, my name is Megan McMath. I'm a 30-year resident of Sooke. My previous work history includes Econ 911, the Victoria Department, and 10 years in the Sooke tourism sector. I currently work as a 911 call taker and a fire dispatcher supporting 18 municipalities, including Sooke. And I'm also Capital Region Emergency Services ironically, Telecommunications Board Director. The social anxiety is real. I'm running for my second term as a councillor to continue to bring financial acumen, pragmatism, municipal experience, and a young-ish perspective to the table. I'm going to continue to advocate on obtaining an alternative route into Sooke, justice reform around prolific offenders, and improving local healthcare issues. I'm strongly invested in the implementation of a pilot project driven by CHNS, which will equip Sooke with the tools and templates required to attract, support, and retain family doctors, nurses, and other healthcare professionals. With probably only 90 seconds left, here's a very quick highlight of some of the work that we've completed in the last term. So Sooke's Transportation Parks and Trails Master Plans. We've opened Sooke's first off-leash dog park, multi-use outdoor sports box, Sooke's new library. We phased out single-use plastic checkout bags. We started a food truck pilot project. We have advocated for and received over $940,000 for the Development Approvals Program, over $350,000 for the Community Economic Recovery Fund, over $120 million for highway corridor improvements from Otter Point spanning all the way to Connie Road, 2.9 through the province's Safe Restart Grant Program, 4.6 through our wastewater treatment plant upgrade project, and over $3,000 from BC Hydro's regreening program used to plant trees throughout the community of Sooke. Sooke is an exceptional community with its own unique identity and challenges, and I hope to continue my work here to preserve what makes Sooke special, so cultivating economic development, but retaining our natural resources. Thank you.
everyone who spoke today, I could truly tell your passion for Sooke, and it's very apparent and it's very inspiring. This concludes our statement segment, and I'm going to hand the floor over to Mike Menard.
Well, as you all seen it, it's a heck of an event. A lot of people came out. A lot of people gave their opinion, and it was fantastic to hear from everybody that showed up. I'd like to thank EMCS Society for the venue. I'd also like to thank our timekeepers, facilitators, Zia Ali, Peter Scott, and our timekeeper, Kim Glidden. We also ask you to pop in tomorrow at the event at the community center between 2 and 6 o'clock. Ask your questions, meet the people. And for the Chamber of Commerce, I'm your president. We are done. Thank you.